Hi, I know it's a bit unusual, but I'm about to start the show for the original channel. But there's one thing we have not talked about. If you remember on Throwback Thursday, we talked about Truancy Court here from the judges. But there's one more judge we have not heard in particular. That was the case of the judge by the name of Melissa Buchanan in Horry County, where she explained the issue of truancy and what can happen if you wind up in her court. Because truancy court may be different. Take a look.
I am Melissa Buchanan. I'm a family court judge here in Horry County, and I have been asked by the school district to discuss with the parents the issues of truancy and what may happen if you come into my courtroom. A lot of times the issues of attendance takes place in the school, and the school tries to ward off any problems of a parent having to go to the steps of coming into a courtroom. However, sometimes that happens, and so they've asked me to discuss with you what will happen and what you can expect if you come to the courtroom. Now, one of the things you need to understand is by the time that you get here to the courtroom, I am fully aware, as are the other judges, of what process has gone through before you get here. I am fully aware that you have gone through the process of signing an attendance contract. You've gone through the process of diversion. So by the time you get to me, I know that steps have already been taken that have not worked. So therefore, once you come to me, we are in the stage of an attendance order. An attendance order will be granted, and that will require you to have your child attend school every day unless there is a medical emergency or a medical absence that keeps your child out of school, or a approved absence by the school district. If there is a missed day that is unexcused, if there is in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, there are problems with your child's behavior at school, that is a violation of the attendance order. If there is a violation of the attendance order, then you will come before the court. Now, if the child is over the age of 12, the child can face violations of attendance order issues, and that will include possibly detention, jail time, or probation. At that point in time, it raises the bar of what a child can face. And we have had children who have violated their attendance order that have gone to the Department of Juvenile Justice if it becomes a problem. Now, in regards to being an adult, the adult would face contempt. If the child is under the age of 12, then it is on the adult to sign the attendance order. It is on the adult to abide by the attendance order. Therefore, if you've got a child that's 7 years old and they are not attending school on a regular basis and it is not an excused absence, then that adult can come before the court, and you are looking at possible jail time, community service hours, or a fine. Now, a lot of times we have parents come in and they use the excuse, well, I cannot get my child to school. I cannot make my child get out of the car to go to school. That is not an excuse that we find acceptable, because if you are a parent of a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, and you are unable to get that child out of the car or out of the bed to go to school, that shows a problem with who is in charge in your home. So you should also understand that one of the other avenues that the court has is DSS. It is called educational neglect. So if you tell the court, I can't get my child to go to school, it's not my fault, that is fine. And there have been times when I have taken emergency protective custody of a child because of educational neglect, and that child will be placed in a home where they can get that child up and get that child to go to school. The court takes this very seriously, your child's education. So if you will not take it seriously enough that you are making sure that your child is going to school, then the court will take steps to make sure that child is placed somewhere where it is taken seriously and the steps are taken to get your child in school. If a child is violating the attendance order, there can be many reasons for it. It could be not only attendance, but it could be the child's behavior at school. Now, a lot of times the parents come in and they want to claim, well, my child is being bullied. Be careful with that. Bullying is the most used excuse for a child's misbehavior at school. We hear that so much. I do not want to say we are immune to it. However, we are desensitized to it because everyone claims bullying. But I would encourage the parents to go and talk to the school and look at the behavioral referrals and the write-ups, because the judges get to see them. And a lot of times when a parent comes in and tells me my child is being bullied or a teacher just does not like my child, I will read to them the way their child has acted, because in Horry County it goes in word for word. And there is nothing like telling a parent, your child has cursed this parent, has disrupted this class, has told them he will not do anything that he is told to do. He gets up and walks out and refuses to do his work. That is not the problem of bullying. That is the problem with the child. That kind of behavior will cause a violation of the attendance order. If that becomes a problem with the court, then that child can be sent off for an evaluation. That is 45 days out of the home to determine what the problem is. They do a lot of testing and psychological evaluations and different stuff of that nature. They come back to court. Then we can decide as a court, do we send that child home on probation? Do we keep that child behind the fence at DJJ? Do we send that child to alternative placement and not let them go home? So there's different levels that we can do. And a lot of times this is a surprise because parents think, well, it is just not going to school. If you have the belief that it is just not going to school, that is transferring to your child, and your child is not seeing school as an important thing. And I will point out to you, as a judge who deals with juveniles, the studies have shown that failure to attend school, truancy, is a biggest indicator of future delinquent behavior, more so than race, sex, or socioeconomic status. Failure to go to school is a bigger indicator that your child will one day end back up in juvenile court doing something different, because almost every child I see in the juvenile court system, their first offense was truancy. Then it grows to things like shoplifting, then assault, then stealing, and it gets bigger and bigger. Possession of drugs, it gets bigger and bigger. So we are asking you now, the court joins with the school district now, take control of the situation in your home at this time. And I would advise the parents, if you come to my courtroom and your child is not going to school, and I am fully aware of every step that they've tried to take with you to get your child to go to school, it will not be an excuse to me if you say, well, I may lose my job if I go to jail, or I may lose my job if I have community service hours. Your job should be important to you on the front end, and I am advising you now, that will not be an excuse if you come before me and you have violated a court order. Jail time is a possibility. So you need to show the court, I have done all that I can do to get my child to go to school, and the child is the problem, then we'll deal with the child. But if the parent is not backing the system up and the parent is not enforcing the court order, and you are setting that example for your child will see that you will suffer the ramifications, just as we are asking the child to suffer the ramifications. So if you show me that it is not important enough to you to make your child to go to school, that you don't want to lose your job, you don't want your child to be taken from your home, and you know all these are a possibility, by the time you get to court, it can be a reality. So that will not be an excuse when you come before the court. So I encourage you, take attendance to school seriously, work together with the court system and the school system to get your child to school, and hopefully you'll never see me again. Thank you.
So that's the key we talked about here. Juvenile delinquency always starts with kids cutting class. That's the whole thing we discussed about the 6 years. So we have talked about juvenile delinquency, but you probably get the picture here. Well, I'm going to get started with the show. We're talking about, we're giving you guys an update about the 6-year-old who shot up the school. The parents make the statement and tell their sides of the story. I hope you'll join me.